got
I'm over.
the official minutes. Call to order the Stephenville Town Council special meeting, agenda for April 18th, 2024 at 5:30 PM. Janelle, would you take the vote? Okay. Take the roll call, please.
Councilor Barker? Here. Councilor Brown? Here. Councilor Nelson?
Here.
Councilor Smith?
Here.
Mayor Michelson?
Here, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We move on to item number 3, public comments. These are comments on anything that are not on the agenda tonight, not on the agenda. No public? Okay. Move on to unfinished business, and before we do that, I would like to have, if it's okay, I would like to have council suspend the rules and move up new business on item number A, approval of Deputy Clerk Andrea Case, so she doesn't have to sit through the whole personnel policy, we don't have to pay her over. Councilmember Barker.
I would like to suspend council rules and move new item, business item A, for the approval of new deputy clerk Andrina Case.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have a discussion? Okay, so now would you take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Brown? Aye. Councilor Nelson?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Okay, we're on to new business. Discussion decision, approval of deputy clerk Andrina Case. Can I get a motion?
What? Say no.
Councilmember Brown.
I move that we approve the appointment of the new deputy clerk on Grena Case.
We have a motion, do we have a second? We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have a discussion by the council?
Question.
Councilmember Smith.
Ma'am, would you give us the correct pronunciation of your first name?
Andrina.
Andrina? Thank you. We were struggling with that.
Yeah, it's not her vote.
Okay, I would like to comment that we have been, as you well know, searching for a deputy clerk for quite a while now. And a lot of them that came before Janelle and Gina, and some of the questions that came up was, what is the main reason why you want to work for the town of Stephenville? And some of the things, well, I don't want to drive to Corvallis anymore, or I don't want to drive Hamilton or Missoula, and that wasn't, I'm just saying some of it. That wasn't a very good answer. But when she did her interview, she's from here, and what caught me on her interview, if you look at her resume, she was at one place for 17 years. 17 years. Now that's a dedicated employee. And to me, that's the employees that I think the town of Stephenville is looking for. Somebody that's here long-term, that's willing to make the sacrifices, that's willing to be vetted into the community. And I think that she'd be a great fit. And before we vote, I want to welcome her aboard. She's already been working with Gina, Janelle. And she's got a smiley personality already, so I think she'd be a great fit, and she'll be working a lot with those three there, through meters and all that. Those are the boys.
Okay.
So.
Don't trust any of them. But one's good.
So I just like to add that. I mean, that's what struck me the most. I mean, for 17 years, and the only reason why she left, am I correct me wrong, is because they phased out your job, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, so
She didn't leave, she was laid off.
we're not gonna phase out her job here.
So-
Go ahead.
So the Shields job, it says to current, are you working there still?
Part-time, but I gave my notice.
Councilmember Smith.
Okay, so, and Brenda, you live here in Stevensville?
Yes.
It's 2
Okay.
doors down from me.
2 doors down from you?
Yeah.
Okay. Across the street from him. All right, so everyone's on Turner Street. Do
Yep.
we have to live on Turner Street to work here? Okay. Other question. City government can, even at this town level, pretty complicated. Are you ready for that kind of a thing?
Yes.
I mean, you're learning something all brand new. It's a lot different than wards.
Very different than retail in general. But I'm ready for the challenge. I'm ready for the change. I've been in
really
retail
smart.
for a really long
She's
time.
very smart. She kept it
Good.
on quick, so she will not have a problem at all.
Coming from the HR director, I like that.
No, she picks up things very quickly. So,
Great.
you know.
Super.
Any other comments from the council? Any comments from the public? Your time to shine. Not three, welcome home.
They're all great guys.
No more comments? No more comments? With that, Janelle, would you take the vote?
Councilor Barker?
Aye.
Councilor Brown? Aye. Councilor Nelson?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Big guy.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. And before we move on, I would like to swear her in because she's an officer. And it's a good policy. Some towns don't do it, but they say you should, as Stacy and I noticed last year. It's a good practice if you're handling money, you should be bonded. And if you look at our MCA code, she is an officer of the town. And if you're an officer, you should be sworn in.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind moving forward. Okay. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Andrea Case,
I, Andrea Case,
do solemnly swear that I will support,
do solemnly swear that I will support,
protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States
protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and that I will discharge the duties of Deputy Clerk
and I will discharge the duties of Deputy Clerk
of the Town of Stephenville with fidelity, so help me God.
of the Town of Stevensville with fidelity, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You signed both of them. That one and that one? And you sign on both of them as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. For you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to stand? No.
Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. Item A, discussion decision, resolution number 515A, a resolution amending the personnel policy manual for the town of Stephenville. And with the council's permission, I would like to, this is how I'd like to proceed. I would ask for a motion in a second to start the discussion. And then I would like to go through each and every one of the changes individually. And if there's a change that the council wishes to amend, take out, add, then I would say we have a discussion, have a vote on that, and move on. Because if some of these things we have to approve, like the year probationary and stuff like that. I would hate to get all the way to the end and then have it voted down. So if we can make the changes as we go along, I think that would probably help us along. Is that acceptable to you?
Okay.
Okay. We'll start with a motion and a second to get the discussion started, please. Councilmember Nelson.
I make a motion that we start on the discussion of resolution 515A, resolution amending the personnel policy manual for the town of Stevensville.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Councilmember
I'll
Parker.
second it.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, we can start the discussion. And before we get going, I'd like to make a note that on page 50, at the very bottom, it says regular employees that work at least 30 hours per week may participate in the town's benefits plans. That should say 32 hours.
First page of the resolution.
It's the page of the page, these pages.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
I just missed that one. We can go back and-
Actually, I think Steve got it.
Yeah, I know. Drop Stevie.
You're welcome.
So that one should
Right.
say, instead of 30, should say 32.
Correct. Mr. Lasser, I caught that today. Okay. So we'll start with the very first change, which would be whereas the town of Stevensville. Let's see here, oh yes. Whereas the current administration recommends pages to read the following sections. 10C, paragraph 2, all employees will serve a 1-year probationary period.
Back up on the, okay, back up here.
Do you guys just want to go page by page for the color and just go through the whole thing?
I think it would be easier
Okay.
instead of
All right,
flipping around.
okay. All right, yeah, you're right. So we'll start with the top.
Page 18.
Oh, you're going back up to the top.
That was page 18, I think.
Is it?
The first one is on page 9, isn't it?
Page
Probationary.
6. Page 6 should be highlighted.
6, but page
Probationary.
Yes, page
9
9
on
on
the
the,
top.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, probationary period is 1 year. It used to say 6 months.
Mhm.
And that's mandated by state law.
Oh.
Alright. Okay, if you go down 2 more lines, you'll see regular part-time employee, an employee who works less than 20 hours per week. Where it used to be 40 hours per week, regular part-time employees, and that's one of Derek's changes.
Is that MCA also?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of these in here are Derek's changes, Derek Shepherd, MMIA. Okay, so we go down to,
Page 18, I think.
go down to page 18,
No, 15.
15.
15?
No,
All employees will serve 1-year probationary period. Page 15. 18 on the,
Mm-hmm.
but it says 15 on
okay.
Okay. Page 18, all employees will serve 1-year probationary period. And that coincides with what that was up there before.
Okay.
So we go down to page 19, the very bottom. Exempt employees are allowed to earn compensatory time, hour for hour. We crossed out, we will not be allowed to be paid for this time if leaving this exempt position. That was another one of Derek's. Of MMI's changes.
Okay.
All right, and then on the next page, item D, it used to say public works employees who are part of the on-call rotation refer to public works after hours call policy. As you well know, that was, they were getting $160. And, no, what was that?
We were getting 8 hours.
Yeah, they were getting 8 hours hourly rate, and you cannot get over 40 hours straight time during the week by state and federal law. And this started under Dewey, blah, blah, and it just kept, so we brought forward, I took that off, we brought it back to give them some compensation. And public works employees who are part of the on-call rotation will receive $160 stipend per week on call response at time you can only be away for 1 hour away. So you guys have a problem with that? Councilmember Brown?
We have a couple questions on that. the way it's worded, it almost sounds like everybody in the rotation system gets $160 per week. That's the way it reads.
Surely.
That's the way it reads.
Yes.
I mean, I interpreted that it was only supposed to be the one person who's on the rotation,
Mhm.
who is on call, should be getting the 160. I think we need to clean that up a little bit in the wording. And I had a question, how many people are in on the rotation?
True, it's us two operators, there's only two.
So you get,
We're the only ones that are capable of being on call, at the moment anyway. So, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak, yeah, or do I have to wait?
Podium, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Or do you wanna?
but
Sorry, I don't wanna make it.
I'll ask all my questions and then you probably can
Okay,
answer them
okay,
all.
sorry.
How's that?
I don't, first council meeting, I apologize.
So there's two of you, so every other week, more or less, you're getting $160.
We,
Comes out to about 8 hours of our pay per hour is about $200 per week that we would get for on call for 1 week.
Okay, my next question is about, on an average, how many times are you called out?
Per month or per year?
Per month, weekly?
It varies so much. There will be months where we'll get 5 or 6 calls a month, and some months we get 1.
And what is
Last
your,
night was the last call. We got a call last night. The sheriff's department and Valley County Sheriff's called me on an on-call phone. Said, I have a lady on the line that has a water leak in her house. She doesn't know how to turn it off. She's worried about the electrical wiring getting wet. Should I call the fire department? I said, I will come. I can't tell you about the fire department. I said, but I'm on my way. I left my house, got to the office, and Jeff Motley responded from the fire department to the house. He called me and he said, Glenn, he said, it's not your problem. It's definitely a homeowner problem. He said, if you don't want to come, you don't need to come. I said, what's the problem? He said, it's a water heater. They have a pinhole leak in their line and it's their problem. I said, okay, you would know? I said, okay, I'll go home. So I came in, clocked in, didn't have to go, but I had to respond to a 911 call. And in the past, it's been, we're required to come in, we get a 2-hour minimum call out and then go home. So that's kind of how it's worked.
and just on average, can you give me like an average number of hours usually when you're called out, how long they last on an average?
can very much, it's hard to put an average to a 0 to a long time, right? So, I've been, water leak, I've been called for a light bulb, you know. We also have our SCADA system, which is our computer system that runs the sewer system. It'll call for anything. If a blower overheats, we get a call. So 2 a.m, I gotta get up, gotta go down to the well house, gotta unlock the gates, I gotta go in, and if I have to reset the breaker, and it takes me 5 minutes, 2 minutes, I do that, and I go back. I understand not everyone, I get we're a small town, and maybe you had looked into it some places, maybe Darby doesn't offer, Darby is much smaller of a system than we are. The kind of standard is 2-hour call out, and I know that's not in the agenda, that should have been, we asked for that. That's what we'd be getting, is if I've got to go flip a light switch at 1 a.m, most cities, and I know Missoula is not a good example, they're much larger, but it's a general 2-hour pay call out for your time. So that needs to be addressed as well, because that wasn't included. But some call outs though, we could end up with a water leak, and if, depending on the time of the year especially, boy, we could be there for 8 hours, I don't know. But the idea is that if we're on call, we're constantly on call. We're asking for 8 hours of our time So, and it can be dependent on what we get paid per hour. I'm not asking for the same amount stipend a week per, as Glenn gets paid, but, because he makes more money than I. But the 160 is based on $20 an hour for 8 hours. But you gotta remember that we do our 8 hours a day, and then we go home
Mhm.
and live on with our lives.
Mhm.
But times that by 7, all those hours, I'm done.
122.
There you go, 122 hours. Cell phone, he's probably done on the side right now, sits there. We gotta stay within range. I can't go, neither of us can go fishing, hunting, camping. We gotta stay in cell phone range. And I understand the way it was set up by Dewey, sure, I get it, it wasn't done the right way. And we're not asking for you to there's no legal reason for you to do it. We're asking you to do the right thing, it would just be to compensate us for being on call every other week, summer, winter. We're just,
Somebody's gotta be
someone has to be there, and the only two people
Right,
that
and,
can,
and yes, I understand that, but
Okay.
I just wanted to get kind
Yes.
of a number thing in
it
front
can
of me.
be, you're right, it could, like you said, it could be one call, or, I get calls, I get calls from 3 Mile all the time, and I know that shouldn't count, but there's a tree on the road. Well, technically, 3 Mile area is sort of Stevensville, right? So, but besides that, I get calls, we get calls all the time for all sorts of things, but on average, things that we actually respond to could go from, maybe we get lucky and there's no calls that week, or we get, especially with the Mission Street project right now, people are,
Mhm.
where's my water? No, got it, like this. But I'm constantly, yes, we're there to answer. So could be 0, could be 5, I couldn't give you I wish I had a data, we don't keep track of that, but I wish I could give you some data of how many calls we get per
Yeah.
month, per year, per week.
And so if I'm reading this correctly, when they clock in, they're getting their regular pay too, correct?
Yes.
So
Which
you,
we are now forced to go down to the plant and clock in because of the new payroll system. In days past, the old one, we could clock in, most towns adopted, the clock in is, we clock in the moment, I should be able to send my boss, Stephen, a text and say, I'm going on a call at 12:55, AM, and I'm, texting when I get back. But the idea is that if you want us to clock in for our hours, understand that we have to go through 2 different gates, but if it's 10 degrees outside, we're locking the gates, we have to go clock in the computer, and then in a sense, as a volunteer firefighter, my last idea is to go, I'm going to the problem. And for us, a lot of times we can sort these problems out that could save a lot of issues if we go straight to the problem. So that's kind of a different issue, but I think
So what I'm hearing is we want public works employees, whoever is part of that on-call location should be cleaned up to say, like you say, Cindy, it makes it look like all public works employees.
who are in this system. Just a couple other questions is you just mentioned a couple things when you're on call. Do we have a set procedure or policy for the on-call people? Because I looked today and I couldn't find it anywhere.
There is.
And should we be not thinking about writing a procedure for the on-call people?
sure. It is not in our job description. And that is we're very much about job descriptions lately. I 100%, that's why we submitted all the things that we do. And that's good for the public as well, because they can see, maybe they don't see a lot that we do, that, they see us cleaning leaves and like, good job. They don't see us and they're like, why don't you fix this crack in the sidewalk or something? If we're going by job description, then why not, I should hand the phone to one of you guys and be like, here, I don't know, if it's not my job description, but we're the only ones qualified to handle certain situations. So yes, it should be included, but with the policy of,
Right,
in our opinion, 2-hour call out minimum. Like if I have to go lock a gate, that wasn't, if I get called in the night, I should get 2 hours. That's pretty standard. And then also I know it can't be 8 hours added to our time card, but 8 hours stipend per our pay. Like, I shouldn't get what Glenn gets paid more than me. I should get my 8 hours times what I make an hour. He should get 8 hours times what he makes an hour. That's all we're asking is give us our 8, it's 8 hours out of the, how many? 122 hours that we're on call outside of work. And I think that's pretty easy asking, so.
There was a couple, other things, so to me, if we're going to have people on call, we should have a procedure in writing for that. But on page 50, this, item was shown twice, and it had 160 spin per week. It said
I think
stipend.
one stipend there.
Yeah, just.
160 is a bargain.
Right, no, I was just
Sure.
pointing out that.
That's why we're here. We're just, the
Spin
160 was
online,
a, okay.
160.
It's fixed
Yeah.
online.
It's just.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
when I downloaded this afternoon, it had spin. There was one other thing I had about this. Just that we should clean up the language a little bit here. If somebody has any ideas, or maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah.
It was almost the word perfect.
Well.
It was almost the word perfect.
I don't like it.
Maybe I'll come back to it.
All right. You go ahead.
You did great. That's all. I think we do. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just,
So here's a suggestion.
Cindy, how about if I put, and you're right, we can get a policy and then bring that back forward, but I think if we put, instead of public works employees, if a public work employee, not E's, is part of an on-call rotation, he or she shall receive 160 stipend, or $160 stipend plus a 2-hour call out, like they said, because a lot of times they get in their pickups and they go to the job site where they have to get called out and they don't get.
We would like the 2-hour call out plus the 8 hours per our hourly wage.
Right. That's right.
Not 160, I'm sorry. Just if we could work it to the 8 hour per meter blend, which you can adjust easily in payroll.
So what you're saying is you want 8 hours for what you're ready to
An
pay.
8-hour stipend per our wage, which we have different wages. So I will get paid less than
So a
Glenn.
public work employee who is part of an on-call rotation will receive 8 hours per their hourly rate. Is that how
Yes,
you want that worded?
please.
Great.
In the 2-hour minimum call out.
2
Now,
hours.
anything after 2 hours obviously is just our rate. But to think of the implications of, if I were to call you guys every time we get the call, it's not fun. And just to get that, if you're going to be disrupted that much, and there's only 2 of us that can be on call, then, and again, industry kind of standard, I know not everyone, like Darby, different system, much smaller town. Most towns say 2 hours, even if it's just a little thing or a big thing.
Excuse me, using the hypothetical that you put out there, that you went down, reset the breaker.
Sure.
You're saying you want a 2-hour call out to go to do a 5-minute reset?
Yes, because that is the industry standard. Imagine yourself being at 3 in the morning, having to go a blower, because the implication that if that blower doesn't get reset, that there could be problems with our effluent. And if our effluent is going to the river and the DO level drops or our nutrients are off, that's a problem. DEQ and EPA will get involved. So there's only 2 of us that are even capable or knowledgeable, qualified enough to get that call. And all we're asking is that if you're gonna, and that's an automated call. So when the phone goes off, it's a voicemail from Bruce Parks, who worked here years ago, saying blower 3 failure. Well, if I were to hand the phone to any of you fellas or gals or anybody other than Glenn, no one knows how to adjust and to rectify that problem. But the implications of that problem. If that blower stops, it needs to be, the breaker needs to be reset, it's gotta go, because dissolved oxygen is an issue. This is, we'll get through that, but understand what I'm saying. Like, I'm about to have my first child. If I've got to leave my baby with my wife that's still recovering from pregnancy to go reset a breaker and make sure that that blower is running correctly. And I know we're a small town, but most towns, yes, it's a 2-hour call out. And that's kind of goes with the small amount of money, 8-hour pay that you're giving us for being 122 hours on call outside of our work per week. I don't think it's a big ask. It was being paid. It has been being paid. It's not a budgetary issue. This isn't about doing what's legal. You don't have to pay us. I'm asking you to just do the right thing for the only 2 operators in this town. And I'll tell you, operators are few and far. We've tried to hire new operators. Boy, they make what me and Glenn make together times 3. We can't hire anybody. So we're doing our best on a shoestring budget, and I think I get that it wasn't done correctly under former mayor, but we need to make this right and for us to. I mean, you're dealing with livelihood here, and also the obligation of, I'm always on call. Even if he's holding the phone, you think I sleep well at night? I know it, because if there's a sewer blockage or a water leak, us too. Yes, we have barely have other public works employees, and they can maybe hand me a tool, or they can, hold a shovel, but you're looking at the 2.
Cody is so conscientious that when I get a call and he finds out about it, he calls me, do you need help? Because we shouldn't have just one guy on most calls, especially if it involves a jet truck or a piece of equipment for safety's sake. We always try to have 2 people, especially during the day, but on a call out. I got called out for a sewer backup on the restaurant on the corner of Main. The Bistro. And it was 11 o'clock at night. I got the jet truck. I met, what's his name and his wife? Really good with names. Eckerts. And I said, I think you and I can do this. I said, if you help me a little bit, I want to call Cody. Cody calls me. He says, you need help? I said, just hang on. Don't get out of bed. I said, I think we can do it. The 2 of us were able to handle it. Well, it was 11 o'clock at night, and there really aren't such things as a 5 or 10 minute call out. He's trying to minimize it, to be nice about it, but it's rare that by the time I get dressed, get down here, take care of the problem, it's rare that it's less than 2 hours. So the problem may be small, but the time involved to get the equipment or get to my pickup because I need a tool, it's rare that it's less than an hour and a half or 2 hours. So just historically, it's always been a 2-hour minimum because of that, because of the time of night or early in the morning. Just kind of a compensation, I guess. Stacy, call on her.
Councilmember Brown, all of it.
That was my other question was, I assume the cell phone is town property, correct? The other thing is, was this budgeted? Is it in the budget? Are we going to have to do budget amendments? And I guess we're trying to fix a problem here, but what was it actually being done before? Were they getting paid?
They were getting paid 16 hours straight time, which was 56 hours. Instead of 40 hours, they were getting paid 56 hours.
So they're
Weekend
getting,
that they were on call.
and you're wanting,
It needs to be changed to a stipend legally. 100%,
It can't
but
be
we've been since
Okay,
Dewey,
so-
we've been getting this money, so it hasn't been affected.
so what
This
you're
isn't a new
saying
thing.
is
We
the
just want to go there.
160 needs to be adjusted because right now the way it is
20
100,
bucks an hour. and they want their hourly rate for 8 hours.
Which would be approximately $200 as opposed to the proposal of $160. So that's our on-call request. Separate is the 2-hour minimum if we do get called out. Instead of getting, I would have got 10 minutes clocking time last night. Instead of, it was almost 2 hours by the time I got here, got my stuff, and
Doesn't pay the gas in his car.
It's hard to wrap around when you see what you're asking for. I mean,
Sure, come on out.
no, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm
just saying
saying,
the fact that
please, I'll
seeing
show
the
you.
money wise by going,
Well, that
8 hours
that
and
money
then
has been
another-
being used. It's not you're right, like Dewey didn't do the right thing. He did,
Right.
okay, so Dewey did the right thing by taking care of his employees. He didn't do the right thing by council and getting it approved. But that money has been in the budget. Robert had moved money to make up for that. Also not the right thing. The town can afford it. They sure can. So we just want to make sure it's done the right way, of course,
So-
but also
you-
let's do this.
so the
right way.
160 is, you want that gone,
We want more than
but
that.
you want more than that. That's
That
what
was
I'm getting
a
at. That's-
discussion with the mayor, and I think maybe there's a little miscommunication there.
So how about if we did a public work employee who was put on the on-call rotation, who received his 8-hour stipend at his hourly rate and a 2-hour call-in?
We'd be more than, that'd be
Is
perfect.
that what you're
They're
asking
just
for?
asking for what they have.
Yes,
That's what you're asking.
It's what they've always had for years.
Yep.
yeah, it's just historically.
And I apologize, I get a little too passionate about it. I don't mean to do that. I just,
No, I mean, it's
I love
just
this town and I wanna
seeing
take
this
care of it.
wording and not understanding
Sure.
what
yeah,
your hourly wage
I should've
is
looked-
as opposed to.
I get
5 pages, you
I
can
get-
send it,
yeah.
the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
We can
I
pay
do
you.
apologize. I just get fired up because I care. Like, we care about the town. That's why every time there's a call,
I
I
care
show
about
up.
the town.
I
The
just
town
want-
came to my house
Yeah,
one night,
sure,
over 8 hours or
Yes.
more.
Point of order here, let's
yes, okay,
sit
sorry.
down here.
You're also talking to somebody who's very familiar with a sewer backup.
So,
So we need to put, the stipend would equal,
his hourly rate.
yes, we can't, because this, and maybe somebody else.
That's what I said, a public work employee who was put on the on-call rotation will receive an 8-hour stipend.
A stipend based on
Based on
their
his hourly rate
hourly rate.
and a 2-hour call minimum.
Yeah.
Please.
So-
You're saying.
That's all, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
Okay, I want to find out.
That's what it was before.
Yes.
This just wasn't done the
But
correct way.
before, only it was 8 hours straight time before.
It's
Yeah,
still the same thing, because in the payroll system, you have to set it up at an hourly rate. You can't, it's paying them 8 hours, and it's not considered like, in the system, it's different, it's just 8 hours, so it'd be just like it was before. So if
So,
it's a true stipend, where you could set it up as a stipend, it would be a fixed dollar amount.
right, so you'd have to,
So not at their hourly rate, it would be a fixed dollar amount.
Are you
That's a
unable-
and that's
stipend.
why we set it at
That's a
160.
stipend.
are you unable to do it for 2 different employees? Is it not possible, or,
I'm just saying, in the system,
Gina.
it's different.
I'm sorry, I'm just asking. Are you unable to set 2 different rates per who's on call? Could you set a rate for him and a rate for
You
me?
can set 2 different rates, but the way they were
Okay.
talking about it is
Okay.
just different. And so if you get if there's a raise, I mean, I'm just trying to,
Mhm.
from my perspective, I'm just saying, if it's a stipend, it's
What if-
gotta be a fixed amount. So you could set the stipend that is his wage
Average.
or at
That's what we yeah.
Glenn's wage.
That's,
You do that,
that's
but
something
you
else
can't
to you.
do it as an hourly.
You
can't do it
rate.
on an hourly rate.
No, she's
You-
saying-
you're gonna
Does
write
that
back
make
to us.
she's saying like 7%.
Yep, I get
So
what
it
you're
would
saying.
be one,
Sure,
Yeah.
just doing it for people.
this amount.
Guys,
So it would be one, I couldn't do it at 8, it would have to be 1 times 200 and whatever it is. So it'd be 1 hour, not 8 hours at their hourly rate. That's how you have to set it up, if you want to set it up as a stipend. Because if you set it up the way he was just saying, then you're back into the old problem of saying you're paying them 48 hours,
Right.
which you can't do.
Right, I forgot.
So does that make sense?
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, Cody, your answer, yes, you can set it up, but it would have to be 1 hour, not 8 hours at a different rate.
All right.
If it's easier, an approximate dollar amount, instead of saying anything about hours, just say it's gonna be 200, mine was 217, his was a little under 200, the 8 hours. So make it easy.
Yeah, I set it, whatever you want me to do, I'll set it up. But it can't be 8 hours, it's gotta be a
Oh.
stipend, which is what?
we have to put in a
Yes.
dollar.
It has to be a dollar amount.
Yes.
To be a stipend, okay.
So why can't we go on the higher end of it, of that
What was the
stipend,
source
and
of
then
the
when
160?
Cody's on call, it'll go down to what his were.
You have to set up two different, so Cody would have one and Glenn would have
Are
one.
we able to set up 2 different ones?
Yeah, I just said we can.
So for example,
I
if
was
he,
just asking. a
if his is
question,
at
so
two
sorry.
hundred and
I
twelve, and
apologize.
his is at 217, you could do that.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I was.
Great.
You just
Like,
attach
is that the
You
clarification?
just attach it to each individual.
Perfect. I'm not asking for what I, more than I
No.
deserve. I want him to get paid what he should, and I get paid what I should. Sounds good.
Mayor, what was the source of the proposal of the 160? Where did that 160 come from?
That came from 8 hours at $20 an hour.
This was your thinking then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just came out and figured to start.
I got it.
So what are we on agreement on? Do we want a public works employee who is put on the on-call rotation, will receive,
I guess, I mean, it's, I don't know how we would word it. or
It's
how
gonna
we
be a
would do that.
stipend, it's gonna be a dollar amount.
Could you, because I'm listening to this right now, could it say, Public Works employee who is put on the on-call rotation will receive a stipend
stipend
based on
Based
their
on-
hourly rate?
based on their hourly rate.
That's pretty good. Sounds great.
That's, yeah, the easiest way to do it probably.
Yep.
Minimum of 2 hours.
2 hour call out, we're okay.
I think a 2 instead of a 1 hour that's on there.
Well, that only the 1
No,
hour.
the response
The
time.
1 hour is
Oh,
response
that's
time.
response
We need to
time.
be
Which-
within 1 hour.
We agree,
hour.
yes, but even less.
I was thinking that was.
We're gonna be around.
Can't be out of Lake Como fishing and.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things.
Which is part of the reason asking for that money is that, you know,
You're
I
bound.
can't go all summer, every other weekend. My wife says, let's go camping. I go, I can't. I got the phone. I can't go out of service and I gotta be within a range to just, I mean, again, if I don't have the phone, if Glenn calls me, then Marley, dropping everything again, gotta do it. Cause it's important to the town. But, thank you.
Are we on agreement with all that?
Just that we'll need to come up with the on-call
Policy.
policy procedure,
I'll put a
And
policy.
whatever.
then, I don't know if it helps with that, but I think, someone who's certified as an operator, you know,
To be on the on-call rotation.
yeah, I mean, you could train someone to do it, but I think you should be at least at some degree, like, I'm only water. He's got all 3 certs, I'm working on my others, but at least 1 certification, if you wanted this for future, you know, if me and him are gone and new people come in, and you gotta do what you gotta do, but I think a certified operator should be the requirement to be on call, so.
Right, and we should have procedures for that, that
Yeah.
you're,
Or
Within
who's
cell
who's
phone
eligible
range
to be on call.
and stuff like that,
I'll put one together.
yes. I was just going through different
No, that's a good idea.
on-call on Google and
Sure.
reading
You made a
through
good
some of them,
point.
so. Sorry for the distraction.
Does
Oh,
this,
no.
does this need to also reflect any particular days of the week? When do you start? What day of the week do you start your on-call?
We,
Fridays, we pass the phone on Friday, so that person has to do weekend.
You want to put that in your on-call policy and not in the personal
I'll put it
policy?
in the policy.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on down to page 22. Accrued leave. Each regular full-time, regular part-time employee shall earn annual leave from the first day of employee will not be eligible to take the accrued leave until the employee successfully completes a one-year qualifying period. Temporary, seasonal, and short-term employees will not accrue annual leave. Below that, highlighted, regular full-time employees that fall below the 40-hour work week for 2 consecutive pay periods fall under a regular part-time employee where the hours are prorated until the employees can meet the 40 hours for 2 consecutive pay periods, and they will resume normal accrued rate of regular full-time employees. Paul?
Do I assume that this is to get it in with MCA?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Is this to get us into compliance with MCA?
Well, we make our own policy around that, so yeah. The MMIA already looked over that, and they gave their
It's not
recommendation.
MCA, anyway.
Okay, one of those.
Okay, everybody fine with that one?
Yeah.
Page 23, requesting annual leave. All requests for leave are required to be submitted electronically and approved by your supervisor.
I would suggest electronically or by paper.
No, paper, we don't do it like paper anymore.
Well, I've also seen where the electronics go down. Now we have a problem.
They don't go down for months, so we don't know, it's never been a problem. They just put a request in, they can put it in whenever, so,
So the old paper form won't work, huh?
no. We're trying to do everything electronically, so. If there's an extreme circumstance, yes, but we would end up going in and putting it in electronically anyway when the computer comes back up, so.
Councilmember Brown?
Is this being submitted through your new payroll system?
Net checks, yeah, it comes through net checks.
And that's another reason it's electronically, net checks is computer.
And that's how we did when we had home base as well. The same thing in home base, we would just go on the home base and that was our only way of requesting.
Mm-hmm.
So still electronic at that time as well.
I'm going to assume that net checks keeps track of the number of hours they actually have too.
Oh, yeah.
We can clock in as employees and see that we might have.
Okay, you just accuse me, you're just getting an old geezer up to speed, 21st century.
It would show if we have 100 hours of vacation or 20 hours of sick, and then we pick a box that we're using and put in our explanation, and then it pretty much automatically takes,
It actually-
reduces that
So
for
when
us.
you do it
Similar to
for
what we
net
do
checks,
it.
it will, and it's approved by the supervisor, then that time that they requested off goes right to the day that they're requesting off, so.
It's the same way that our work works too. It's all in a computer system. It's not written anymore.
Mhm.
Okay, down at the bottom on page 26. An employee who has passed the 1-year qualifying period and has separated from the service town for any reason shall be entitled from termination to cash compensation. I think that, go ahead.
We need to go back up with the.
Oh, okay, all requests for
You have on the next page, which was 27.
22.
Under accrual of sick leave.
Yeah. Do not occur sick leave. Temporary. So just-
Temporary, seasonal,
Short.
and short-term,
So that's
which
just-
you know, is pretty-
Okay.
Do we have any regular part-time employees?
We've already got that, right? This is the one.
So we're going back up to 18 to look at that one.
No, it was on 25, it was just because we just did the electronic leaving.
And then right below that.
Right below that was sick leave, accrual sick leave. But it's fine.
Okay.
when you
So
go
just
all the way to
going
the-
back, the next one would be work on a holiday.
Work on holidays
That's
for
pretty
27. Item E, we're taking out exempt employees required by management to work on a day, a holiday to is observed shall be granted another day off within the same pay period. And we're putting in employee who is assigned as exempt.
What page are you on again?
27.
27.
All right. Damn.
Okay, and we'll put it on to page 38, travel and expense reimbursement. Personnel policies in the past had, they would put the actual amount or whatever in there, would stay there for 3 or 4 years, so we changed it to employees completing town of Stephenville business may be compensated for travel expenses, meals, mileage, and incidental expenses. Per diem rates for mileage, meals and mileage rates are set by the state of Montana Department of Administration. Please see the finance, because it changes every year, so instead of updating the policy, it just reflects on what the Department of Transportation, what the rate is. You get a hold of the finance officer, and she will tell you what it is. Okay, down to page 40, item D, vehicle accidents. This is what I talked about last week with Colette Taylor. She went to a judge training in Billings a year ago, going down our highway, something fell off a truck, and hit the bumper of a car, got smashed. We said if an employee is using their own vehicle for the town use and involved in an accident, the town will pay up to $1,000 of the deductible. Current copies of the insurance policy must be on file at all times at the Human Resource Director. If the employee does not have insurance, the town is not liable for any damages because we don't have a town vehicle. And since we don't, we use our own vehicles when we're traveling. We are on town time. So if something were to happen, it shouldn't go against our insurance up to a point. We should have to pitch in a little, and that's what we did to Colette. She agreed to do $500, but we're saying that we could pay up to $1,000 of the deductible. And we talked with Derek with that, and he said he was good with that. They don't pay it, but we do.
No.
MMI wouldn't pay it.
So that means that all employees have to turn in a copy of their insurance.
When they're traveling,
With their travel.
and that's good practice anyway.
So, well, if you drive to Fairmont in your own car, because it's on company business, I need a copy of your insurance on file. If you're taking your own car.
Well, I guess I have to because we don't have a town car.
That's right.
Unless I
Right.
take one of the fire engines. Huh?
You can't. Jeff would never let you.
That's true. We'll go down to page 43, employee benefits. Regular employees may participate in the town of Stephenville's benefit plan. The town of Stephenville will pay a specific dollar amount into the benefit plan that the employees can use to pay for options elected. And we took out part-time, seasonal, and short-term eligibles. Didn't take that out. Part-time, seasonal, and short-term workers are not eligible for health and
Benefits,
benefits.
yeah.
We took out for regular part-time employees. We pay a prorated. We don't pay that, we don't pay prorated, they're just not eligible. That's another Derek thing, Shepherd MMIA. Regular employees that work at least 32 hours per work may participate in the town's benefit plan. Okay. And down below there, it is a responsibility of the employees to make the necessary changes in their insurance policy. This is a big deal, because a lot of times, employees expect either Gita or people before came and expected the town to make the changes, whether it's insurance or whatever. It's the responsibility of the employee, nobody else. You've got to make a change to your insurance or whatever. You have to go online, get on MMIA and make that change yourself. Or come in and Gina will guide you that way, but she cannot physically make that change for you.
It's illegal for me.
It's
to
illegal,
change.
yeah.
It's illegal for
She
anybody.
could go to
to
jail
change.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's it. Glenn,
Can I address one more thing about what we had talked about for the on-call. I think it was March 19th about that the decision was made, this town's not gonna pay for any on-call time. And Cody and I thought we did something wrong, because somebody's gotta carry the phone. So I said, let's just keep carrying it. So the mayor said, we'll figure this out. And I said, okay, fine. So we've been carrying the phone for about 4 weeks with no pay. So I guess that's my ask. Can that be retroactive to when it was stopped?
Is it
That's
legal
up to
for us
the
to
council.
retroactive? Is it legal for us to go back and do that?
I have to check, I don't know that. I'd have to ask somebody, I'm sorry, I don't have the answer.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing if that's the case.
If the council thinks that they should be paid retroactive pay, we could have Gina look into that, and if that is legal, then would the council be okay to pay that, or?
All these hours of unpaid service, they've all been recorded with the town, correct?
I think so.
Well, you know, when they had the phone, it was recorded because it would go on their time card. But since we couldn't put
You
it on the
can't
time
get
card
over
anymore,
40 hours a week.
we just had to
No,
do it.
I understand that, I'm talking like, they're asking for compensation to be paid for time where they worked and they weren't getting covered by pay. I was just,
I guess one way to prove, well, no. No, they just switched the phones,
Because when you turned in our hours, it wasn't on there, correct?
right? Previously, when we would do payroll, I would put the on-call phone 8 hours, so that was recorded. But then when that stopped, I had nowhere to put it. But they continued to carry the phone.
I stopped it because it's against state and federal law.
Right.
I understand that.
I sent them an email saying that from that point on, I was not going to pay on call. And they came to me and said, what's up? I said, okay, change it. What we're doing right now, change the personnel policy, we test changes.
To answer your question, though,
Okay,
To
so this is
simplify
under
my-
your administration.
To simplify
Changes things, that's okay.
simplify my question, how are we going to pay them for time that they incurred not being covered, but they're doing service for the town, if we don't have record of the time that they served?
Because you were paying a stipend. just like-
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
just where I
you
was.
were paying that stipend.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. I don't see anything wrong with that. That was just,
We're talking how many hours stipend? Or how many days, whatever,
About 4 weeks.
that's where I was at.
4 weeks.
I mean, that's obviously we're taking it on the honor system of.
But you're also taking this in context outside of the resolution at this time, so I think that maybe it needs to go on the next meeting, which you could put on
Yes,
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think we can keep it where we're at, and then we could put it on next week. We gotta bring the personnel policy back up again next week. We found another change today through MMIA. So.
But what Glenn is asking for is not to do with the personnel policy or the resolution. He's asking for a reimbursement. So I just kind of going off of how we do these meetings, we need to bring that back as a separate agenda item.
I can bring that as an agenda item itself.
Yeah, like to know what the dollar.
And that'd be the proper way to
That's
do it.
kind of where I was at with it, yeah. Sorry, it made me confusing.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
guys.
think that's.
That'd be the way to do it.
So the past 4 weeks, then you haven't been taking the time to go in and clock
No, I
in
haven't.
early or?
well, you wouldn't clock in not having the phone. The phone was extra.
But you have the records on your phone.
That's what he was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last night it got called. So there's.
You would have those records of those calls coming in. You would just have to look at
Yeah.
those dates
And who was holding?
and who was holding the phone at the time.
Yeah.
That's one way you're gonna
That's
find
one way
it.
you can prove, yeah. if somebody, somebody needs proof, whatever.
You have it right there on those records, on those calls.
Last week, there was no call outs. I carried the phone, but I never got any calls last week, so I don't know how you would
Well,
show that.
You still get your stipend because you're on
Yeah.
call.
Oh, yeah.
That's the issue here is a
Yes.
2 hour. But you're not getting called out, you're not gonna get 2 hours anyway,
No, right.
so.
What do you
Got
expect?
I want to call out, yes, that would be documented.
That's what I was
I'm
kind
sorry,
of,
yeah.
I
sorry.
worded it wrong apparently, I was confused.
Absolutely, that would have been,
I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
No, I misspoke on what I was asking, I apologize for that. But my answers, I got them. Thank you.
okay.
So are we good with the changes that we have right tonight so far? And I will bring back,
Table this for
I will
now.
bring back the retro pay agenda item for next week. And
You want this? Or we correct
we need
Thank
to,
you, guys.
any discussion else from you guys?
I just have a question on the 1-year probation for new employees or employees now. So I got 2 guys that are less than a year, does that affect them, or does that just affect me?
No, they're grandfathered in.
Hires or?
They're grandfathered in, so. If you're working now and the policy has changed today, and you were under the 6-month probationary period, like Gina or whoever was, that, or even you on your new job,
On the new part, yeah,
yeah, as a director. According to the policy at the time, it was 6 months,
okay,
so you fall under that.
okay,
But from today on, or when it's passed tonight, it goes to a year.
yeah.
And that was changed a year ago by state, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
When we were under,
Changed 2 years ago,
In my head.
maybe 3.
From 6 months to a year,
Pardon me?
from 6 months to a year.
we tried to get it changed last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's across the board for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a Montana state thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because of our employment laws, that's
Yeah.
why.
Okay, any other? Okay, seeing none, Janelle, would you take the vote?
Councilmember Burkert,
I,
Councilmember Brown,
No,
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Smith.
Motion passes 3-1. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to town council comments. None?
Oh.
Councilmember?
I had nothing against your stipend or anything, I just wanted to see the corrections before I signed off.
Thank you. I thought you were mad at me, so thank you.
No, I just would like to see the corrections
Agreed.
before, but
Agreed.
this was
Okay.
just the first reading of it, correct?
No, this,
no, this is
Just
fine.
not-
That was the final? Oh,
Resolutions only have one, ordinances have two.
never mind. That's my fault.
I thought we were bringing.
okay, I don't have much on the executive report. I will say that I sent out 16 letters now to property owners and vehicle owners on the streets, trying to get the town cleaned up. There's more to come. I won't be very popular, but so be it. Needs to be
Work
cleaned
hard
up.
for popularity.
Yeah. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
First, we have a second. All in favor?
I-
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you very much. Appreciate your listening ear and your compassion. Thank you.
Thank you.